Let's start with the real question behind this comparison. Which method will make the design look the way it should, last the way it needs to, and hit the budget and timeline without drama? Vinyl printing and silkscreen, screen printing, both earn their place, but for different reasons. Here's what matters. Method. Vinyl printing, often heat transfer vinyl, HTV, uses a cutter to create the design from colored vinyl, then bonds it to the garment with a heat press, which makes it great for simple, bold graphics and personalization without heavy setup work. Silkscreen forces ink through a mesh stencil, one screen per color, directly onto the fabric, then cures it, producing saturated color and a print that feels integrated with the garment once set up properly. Bottom line, vinyl sits on top and is fast to start. Screen printing embeds color through stencils and scales efficiently after setup. Best for order size. Here's the practical truth about quantity. Vinyl shines for very small runs and one-offs because there's minimal setup and each item can be individualized without extra cost. Screen printing flips that logic. The upfront setup takes longer, but once the screens are made, the per-shirt speed and cost drop sharply, making it the better choice for medium to large orders. If the plan involves dozens or hundreds of the same print, screen printing wins on cost and throughput almost every time. Setup and speed. Vinyl is quick to start, cut, weed, press, but that per-piece handling adds up, especially as the order grows or the artwork gets intricate. Screen printing takes longer up front to create and register multiple screens, yet once the press is running, production is fast and consistent across the batch. For 5 shirts with names, vinyl is painless. For 200 event tees, screen printing is built for it. Durability. If longevity under washing, stretching, and daily wear matters, screen printing generally has the edge because cured inks bond with the fabric and resist fading and cracking over time. Quality HTV can absolutely last, but it's more sensitive to heat, abrasion, and harsh detergents, and can peel or crack if care or application isn't dialed in. Bottom line, both can be durable when done right, but screen prints tend to keep their look longer under rough use. Typical lifespan expectations. Guides commonly note that good screen prints hold up across the garment's natural lifespan, especially with proper curing and normal care. HTV can handle many wash cycles and maintain color, but poor application or aggressive laundering accelerates peeling or cracking, which is why care instructions matter more with vinyl than with ink. In normal terms, expect screen prints to be the safer long-term bet, with HTV lasting well when handled reasonably. Feel on the garment. Vinyl has a slightly raised, decal-like feel. On larger areas, it can feel less breathable and a bit stiff depending on the film used. Screen prints, especially with softer ink choices and controlled deposits, tend to drape better across larger designs and can feel more integrated with the fabric. If the design covers a big chest or back area, screen printing often wears more comfortably. Color complexity and detail. Screen printing handles multiple spot colors, halftones, and gradients with precision at the cost of more setup for each color. Vinyl is excellent for sharp, solid shapes, numbers, and text, but multi-layered, many-color designs become tedious and impractical fast. If the artwork has blends, fine tonal shifts, or photo-like elements, screen printing is the right tool for the job. Special finishes. Vinyl makes specialty looks easy. Glitter, reflective, metallic, and glow are straightforward via different films. Screen printing can do special effects too. Puff, metallic inks, high density, suede, though it requires specific inks and process adjustments, which is more involved than swapping a film. If the brief calls for a flashy texture with minimal prep, vinyl is the quick route. If the goal is an ink-driven effect tied into a big production run, screen printing can deliver it. Fabric and substrate compatibility. Both methods work well on cotton and common blends, but screen printing goes further across materials and flat substrates, beyond apparel, when selected inks and processes match the surface. Vinyl remains a strong choice for apparel, sportswear names and numbers, and certain promo items where simplicity, personalization, and punchy color matter most. For mixed materials and non-textile surfaces, screen printing's ink system versatility is a real advantage. Color vibrancy and saturation. Screen printing typically achieves rich, saturated color thanks to heavier ink deposits and the ability to tune ink choice and mesh for the fabric. Vinyl is vibrant in the sense that the film itself is a solid, opaque color, but the palette and nuance are limited to whatever films are available and layerable. If the design calls for deeply saturated inks across a large area, screen printing tends to look more built-in and bold. Large designs and coverage. When the graphic is big, breathability and drape matter. Screen printing spreads color with a thinner, more flexible deposit that moves with the garment, which usually makes it the better choice for large front or back prints. Large vinyl panels can feel heavier and less breathable, and they add stiffness that some wearers don't love. For jerseys and small logos, HTV feels great. For big merch graphics, screen printing wears better over time. Cost factors. Vinyl is cost-effective for small batches because there's no screen-making cost and minimal prep, so one-offs or short runs don't get punished by setup fees. Screen printing becomes the clear value as quantities climb because the setup cost spreads across units and the per-item time plummets. Multicolor screen jobs add cost with each extra screen. Multi-layer vinyl adds labor and can bog down production, which is why complex, many-color work often favors screen printing at scale. Turnaround. For a handful of shirts needed quickly, vinyl is simple and fast to execute once the cut file is ready. For medium and large orders, screen printing pulls ahead after setup, outputting consistent pieces rapidly with minimal per-unit handling. Let me explain. Vinyl's bottleneck is weeding and pressing each garment. Screen printing's is setup. After that, it flies. Care and maintenance sensitivity. Screen prints tolerate normal washing better and are less likely to peel or crack when cured correctly, which reduces the chance that end users ruin the garment with everyday care. HTV endures plenty of washes too, but aggressive heat, harsh detergents, or over-drying can shorten its life, so clear care guidance helps a lot. If the audience is rough on clothes, think team gear or heavy rotation merch, screen printing offers more margin for error. Equipment and learning curve. To get predictable screen print results, there's more process to master. Darkroom, exposure, mesh, squeegee pressure, ink type, curing, and registration across colors. Vinyl asks less of the operator up front. A cutter, a heat press, and a reasonably steady hand at weeding will get most small jobs out the door without a deep technical foundation. If the goal is to start producing quickly at micro scale, vinyl is easier. For a production shop with volume ambitions, screen printing rewards the learning curve. Use cases. Here's where decision-making becomes simple. For one-offs, team names, small logos, quick gifts, and specialty finishes, vinyl is efficient, crisp, and economical. For brand runs, event tees, uniforms, and any design that's multicolor, large, or destined for lots of washing, screen printing delivers consistent quality at the right unit cost. Bottom line, match the method to the job, not the other way around. The short answer: if the project is small, simple, or personalized, choose vinyl and keep it moving. No screens, quick turnaround, plenty of finish options, and clean edges. If the project is bigger, more colorful, or needs to take a beating in the wash, choose screen printing for its durability, vibrancy, and scale economics. Here's what matters. Vinyl is the scalpel. Screen printing is the press. Pick the tool that fits the cut. This isn't about one being universally better. It's about constraints and priorities, quantity, design complexity, feel, longevity, and cost. Decide those up front, and the right method becomes obvious.